grinds my gears.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Ryno's Rants on a Monday night. I see we got Doc, we got Justin in the house already here. The usual gang of idiots. I'm happy for the usual gang of idiots and anybody else that pops in along the way. My worthless opinion. Good evening. Welcome to the show once again. I guess tonight we kind of figured we would hit some of the high points from rookie minicamp that, of course, occurred over the weekend, mostly Friday and Saturday. We had a total of 42 players in for the 2-day workouts. Of course, the draft picks, the undrafted free agents, and a bunch of camp invitees from a lot of smaller schools and places like that. But, of course, the initial emphasis and the attention was on Jordan Addison, who, at least in that 2-day little mini camp type deal, showed out as advertised. By all accounts, I know Will Raggets from SI was one guy that had a pretty good write-up on some of this stuff. Addison looked very good, running routes very crisp, cutting his routes off, properly running them the right way. Got a lot of wiggle in the moves, and he showed off his catching ability. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the one catch that the Vikings put out on their little day one recap video, where Addison picked the ball about yay far off of the grass and made a catch with it, and off he went. So I think if, granted it's small sample size, and starting this week with the regular mini camp, when you start getting all of the other main players and stuff in, we'll see a little bit more. But Doc, oily hips, yeah, that's sounds like they were pretty well lubed up with WD-40 the way he was moving around. They even showed that Kevin O'Connell was even throwing in passes there for a while. But so we got Jefferson, Hawkinson, Addison. Is it too early to call them the Sons of Anarchy? That's a possibility. I mean, we need to get a good nickname for him. I know if you saw on our Facebook page, Brunswick put out one of his little art deals the other day. He called them the Four Norsemen, but throwing Osborne in there too. So, but I think if Addison, small, like I said, small sample size, but if he shows out the way everybody thinks he's going to, and the early returns are very good on it, I think we could be a big problem for a lot of defenses this year. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as things progress. But then, of course, we had 5th round selection quarterback Jaron Hall, who was the main quarterback for the rookie minicamp. They did have another kid come in, Logan something or another. Reggie ain't no if with Addison. I think you're right. I'm not going to crown him this early, but JJ, AJ, KJ, and TJ, it's easy. The smoking J's, so that works too. But Jaron Hall, early stuff there. O'Connell was talking him up pretty good. Said he had very good command of the huddle when he was out there, taking in a lot of stuff. Of course, O'Connell said he probably spent a little extra time with Hall than with the other guys, just he said he kind of naturally gravitated towards the quarterbacks, of course. So there again, it's going to be interesting to see what Hall can do when you start getting you get Jefferson and Hawkinson and those guys out there. Let him throw some passes to those guys. And granted, a lot of people are going to look good at this point in time of the season when they're just running around in shorts and a helmet, but Reggie's ready to crown him already. Hey, I'm tempering my expectations just a little bit. I think I'm pretty sure the kid's going to be good, but I want to do a little wait and see approach before I get too overhyped on it, I guess. But then there was also a couple of the invitee standouts. One of them was wide receiver Armani Carmichael from Minnesota Duluth. The way it sounds, he's wide receiver. The way it sounds, he was making some plays out there as well. I read 2 or 3 different places where they said he kind of impressed. So have not heard anything about him being invited to actual training camp or anything at that point in time. But it might be something that they keep him in the back pocket and bring him in later or something like that, I guess, too. It's hard to see. But then another guy, Carmichael can ball. He needs more reps. Yeah, and coming out of Minnesota Duluth, I mean, it's kind of an Adam Thielen type thing. Mankato, Minnesota Duluth, they're all in that same, talent level wise. So if he can work himself in, I do believe Carmichael has returns punts a little bit, so that might bode in his favor if he can get signed. But the other guy that seemed to turn a few heads was Georgia Southern cornerback Najee Thompson. Now he's more of a special teams guy, and he's one of these rare guys that wants to be a special teamer. I read a story about him today when I was doing some show prep that can vets attend the rookie minicamp. There was a couple. They had Josh Sokol and TJ Smith, from last year's stuff that were there. So usually, if it's a vet, it's a guy that they're just giving a tryout to, or somebody at the bottom of the practice squad type guys that they want to get some more reps in with, or to fill out enough players to do their 7-on-7s and things like that. But Smith was the only guy that, it's not a rookie or a second year guy that was there, I guess, as far as I know. But anyway, back to Najee Thompson. Kid started out as a wide receiver at hey Dan, what's up? Started out as a wide receiver at Georgia Southern, then decided he didn't want to play wide receiver anymore, so he went and told the coaching staff that he wanted to play on special teams. Became a gunner and a guy, did very well on special teams. The kid blocked 3 punts in 2 years. So he's got some natural talent there on the special teams. Then they also moved him over to cornerback, and didn't play a ton as a cornerback, but he did have an interception and a few passes defense. But if he's going to get on the roster for training camp, it's going to be as a special teams guy. And the way it sounds, this guy might have something there. He could be another one of those David Palmer type guys, or Marcus Sherrills types, who carves himself out a niche as a special teams guy that makes the team every year because of that. So he's going to be worth watching. Then, of course, not as a huge surprise to vets join later. Yeah, the vets will start with regular minicamp. I think it starts tomorrow on Tuesday. mind is racing with the combos we can throw out there on offense. Yeah, there's going to be plenty of options. That wide receiver can be a gem if Naylor poops the bed. I would say more with Rager than it would be with Naylor, because I don't think that Rager's job is safe of making the roster out of training camp. So, but like we mentioned, the two undrafted free agents that we got, of course, Ivan Pace Jr. out of Cincinnati. Kevin O'Connell was heaping praise on him, called him arguably one of the best linebackers in the draft, including over the guys like Jack Campbell and some of those guys that were drafted in the first round. I don't know that I'm going to go that far, but I love the Ivan Pace signing. The kid's coming in with a massive chip on his shoulder. You know, we saw the Instagram post after he went undrafted that he said straight out on there, "Y'all done fucked up." So he's coming in with a, with something to prove. And at this point, I think I would be kind of surprised if he doesn't make the 53 coming out, especially with the inside linebacking core being as thin as it is. Then the other one, edge rusher Andre Carter, the second out of Army. Again, he was drawing a lot of praise from the coaching staff. O'Connell said it was basically like having an extra draft pick. They said that he was on their board a couple of different times to, and they were considering taking him earlier, but just the way their board fell, that they had somebody that they had ranked higher at that point in time. But so they were extremely happy to get him on, when he fell to the undrafted free agents. And of course, Carter, they gave him one of the biggest undrafted free agent contracts ever, $300,000, and then let's like a $40,000 signing bonus. So, and especially with the Za'Darius Smith situation, Carter is right now stands a very, very good chance of not only making the 53-man roster, but getting significant playing time early on. Don't think anybody's considered to have a better UDFA class than us. I mean, we got to rank right up there. I know I saw something the other day that there was somebody else, I forget who it was, if it was somebody was really bragging up the Seahawks UDFAs and stuff, but I don't know how long till Carter has to honor his military contract. It's at least 3 years. Now, I think there is a possibility of putting in a waiver that as long as he's on an NFL roster, there's ways around it. He can, do his military duty, like National Guard type stuff, or during the off season and stuff like that, so he doesn't miss playing time. It seems to me, I remember, who was it? It was with the long snapper we had before DePaulo. I believe he was active military, and it was kind of the same situation, and they allowed him to, of course, play and not miss any of the actual season itself. So there's ways around it, and I'm pretty sure the Vikings have done their diligence on that. So, we'll see how things go. We won't worry about it right now because it's not anything that's right on the horizon where they're going to miss, or he's going to miss out on anything. I don't think so. Then there was a couple other issues, or a couple of guys, I guess, that didn't practice in the rookie camp, which a little bit of a missed opportunity for them to show what they have. One of them was running back Dwayne McBride. He's got a little bit of a hamstring issue that he's recovering from, so he did not practice. He was there, but he did not practice. And also wide receiver Malik Knowles, the guy out of Kansas State, he didn't practice either, and I don't know what kind of injury deal he's got that he wasn't practicing. But he's another kid I am extremely intrigued with. I want to see what he can do at the next level, because like I said, at Kansas State, they used him kind of that Deebo Samuel, Percy Harvin type role where he was out of the backfield. He was catching passes. He was doing this. He was doing that. He was all over the place. He's got kick return ability. I think he stands a pretty decent chance of at least getting on the practice squad, if not, making the final 53. Some of these guys, there's going to be some difficult decisions made at the end of camp when they have to start cutting down guys here, especially on the offensive side of things, because we've got a lot of intriguing weapons, raw, of course, and people that need reps and need some work, but we'll see what happens, I guess, when we get to the end of August, first week of September there. But that's about all the stuff from rookie camp. Again, there wasn't a ton of stuff that came out from it. They kind of hold stuff. We don't want easy decisions. No, that's true, Doc. We want we want guys pushing the guys that are on there, not keeping the status quo. We don't need this stuff. The Zimmer Spielman regime that just kept guys around just because they were guys. 90-man roster till the final cut. Yeah, but that's a new rule this year. There is, before there was always 3 cut down dates. Now everybody stays until the final cut. So yeah, you're going to have a glut of players dumped, after that final preseason game. Dan says he likes Knowles too. I think we have a different punt returner this year. I think so too. I don't think Rager makes the team. I'm not sure what the contract stuff is as far as look who's late. Fashionably late as always, GMAC, but you're here. That's all that matters. So with Jalen Rager, I don't know what the cap savings would be by cutting him. But again, I don't want to cut a guy with a lot more upside and ability just because we have to pay, somebody like Rager who, can't run the right routes and can't do this and can't do that. Za'Darius here, you see us eating that $3 million. I think so too. Right now, unless the light bulb comes on and Rager shows out in training camp, I don't see a way he's on the roster at the end of the year. I mean, we already, of course, declined the 5th-year option, which if they would have picked up that 5th-year option, I'd have started to be concerned about the mindset of the administration here. But especially if someone shines, yeah, and like we were talking earlier, there's Malik Knowles, there's the Carmichael kid out of Minnesota Duluth that both look pretty good. And you got guys, you've got Jalen Naylor, and you've got a lot of players who are going to be fighting for not a lot of spots. I mean, we got 4 wide receivers that are a lot, or 3 that are a lock. Of course, Naylor, I would say, is pretty close. We get no cap relief if we cut Rager. That's what I was wondering, Dan. I couldn't remember if his contract is fully guaranteed at this point or not. But even if we don't get any cap relief, like I said, I would rather let him go and keep a guy with a lot more upside and a lot more promise, because we know what Rager is at this point in time. He's been in the league. This is his 4th year now, and He's not we got him for punt return ability, and he's not a good punt returner either. So I think if anybody shows out that they can return punts, Rager will be shown the door. But Reggie poses a question here. Who is the player that steps up this year opposite Hunter? That is a great transition over into, of course, the big news that Skull World actually broke on Vikings Uncensored live Friday night, when the Minnesota Vikings traded edge rusher Za'Darius Smith to the Cleveland Browns for, basically we sent Za'Darius a 2025 5th or 6th, and the 2025 7th for a 5th round in 23 and a 5th round in 24. But more importantly, we gained $12.1 million in cap space, which will allow us to hopefully work out a new deal with Daniil Hunter to make him happy. Just talking about earlier how we need to stop letting paychecks determine playing time. Absolutely. Davenport will get every opportunity. GMAC, yeah, I believe so. I believe he'll go in as the starter opposite Hunter. But with you got Patrick Jones II. That's he had 4 sacks last year and made some good opportunities in the limited playing time he had. You've still got DJ Wanham, who's here in the final. He's in the final year of his contract. As we talked about earlier, we have Andre Carter coming in, who I think is going to get every opportunity to get some playing time early, at least in certain pass rushing packages and things like that. So we've got enough guys that we can rotate in and around, and there's always a possibility that when you hit that massive player dump at the end of training camp, that there is there's an edge rusher out there that we might be able to pick up. And that's another thing too with the, getting the salary cap relief from getting rid of Za'Darius. It gives us a chance to make a few moves like this if necessary, because otherwise we were bouncing across the bottom of the cap. We didn't even have enough to sign Jordan Addison until after the Za'Darius moves. So Reggie Jones could have a big year. I think he's due to take the next step. You've also got guys on the roster like Kenny Willekes. You got Luigi Ballon. Some guys like that have an opportunity to make a name for themselves if they can in preseason. Now, we're not at a glut of riches at the edge rusher position like we are at the wide receiver position, but I think we have enough guys currently on roster that are talented enough to, put a good rush on the opposite side of Hunter. So, and also, this year we're not going to be seeing our best pass rushers dropping back in coverage like we did so many times last year with under Donishell. Reggie going to have a good rotation at edge. Yeah, I agree. The new DC will help some guys show what they got. Absolutely. I mean, I think that for those guys, the Wanhams of the world, the Patrick Joneses of the world, the Kenny Willekes, all these guys, Andre Carter, they're all going to have an opportunity to show what they got. And we'll see who steps up. It's going to be another thing. Hey, Skull Mafia, welcome to the show. Good to have you on again. It's going to be the same thing with the safety room. We've got basically 5 safeties now that I believe all 5 make the final 53. And, as far as going into coverage packages, we start running a lot of 3 safety sets. And, of course, guys like Ward and, even Cam Bynum can play cornerback as well. So Flores' system does not rely on great edge rushers. No, it doesn't, because he runs so many more blitzes. But when you have great edge rushers like a Daniil Hunter, it makes it all that more effective because it just opens up one more spot where you can bring pressure from. We harken back to that one game when Flores was the head coach in Miami when they ran a 0 blitz against the Ravens. Was it 35 times in one game, I believe it was. Reggie talked about Lewis Seen. Absolutely. From everything I've been hearing, I think it was Harrison Smith that said Seen looks like, he forgot he even was injured last year because he looks back to normal and natural out on the field out there. I want to see what the kid can do. Everybody is talking down last year's draft because we didn't have the impact guys, because Seen got hurt early on. Booth, of course, hurt. Caleb Evans kept getting his bell rung. So, this defense is going to be markedly improved this year. I fully believe that. GMAC seeing something new on defense would be nice. Yeah, I've seen that stuff every week. Never worked. I look back to that in week 2. That should have been a gigantic red flag there when we sat and watched that Monday night game against Philly. And by the second quarter, you had Troy Aikman sitting there the entire game just saying, why is the Vikings defense doing that 3 high shell coverage? Why are they not getting out of that? Why are they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing this? We kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and it never worked. I made my that's because Miami didn't fear the Ravens beating them deep on a pass. That is true. That was earlier on in Lamar Jackson's career when he was not much of a passer. I mean, he's improved in that area, of course, now, but I could actually see us doing something similar to that against the Bears and Justin Fields this year, because I am not convinced Justin Fields is a legitimate passer, even though the national media is riding his jock up one way and down the other. But you look at some of these stats and stuff that were thrown out there on him. He had 2 games last year where he threw for under 100 yards. Most of his games were, at or around 200. I think that one game he threw for 70 yards. His bad decision. The guy makes tons of plays with his feet, but until he can show that he can, having DJ Moore is going to help. But I'm still not convinced that the Bears are going to be as good as everybody thinks they are. I'm pretty sure that they're at least a year out yet before they start making any moves. Detroit, on the other hand, I think I think they're going to give us problems, but it is what it is. Didn't think Cooper Rush is much of a passer either. It depends on the system. Of course, you're not wrong there. Of course, the Vikings made every crappy, subpar, half-ass quarterback look like a perennial all-pro last year. We let Mac Jones throw for 380 yards against us. Daniel Jones, because of 2 games against us, got a $40 million a year contract extension. Name your quarterback we played last year. We made most of them look like superstars if they weren't already. Almost seemed like we played better against the good quarterbacks than we did against the bad quarterbacks, but I don't know. I'm ready to close the book entirely on last year's defense just because it was so god-awful hideous. Any pro can look good against a prevent defense all game, and that's really what it was. It was a glorified prevent defense the entire time. And when you have your defensive coordinator going out there in mid-December, wherever it was, after I forget which game it was, but in that middle of the stretch where we gave up 400 plus yards passing for 5 straight games or whatever it was, I'm not concerned about giving up yards, it's giving up points. Well, again, another major red flag. And if he was my defensive coordinator and the events had played out the way they were, I'd have fired him after that one. Don't worry about giving up yards. you give up yards, your defense stays on the field, your defense gets tired, you give up yards, eventually you're going to give up points. You can't just let them run up and down the field between the 20s and expect to stop them and kick field goals. Gave up 400-plus yards to Skylar Thompson, Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah. Like I said, there were very few quarterbacks that we did not give up 300 to 350 plus against, and if not 400. I mean, like I said, it was 5 or 6 straight games that we gave up 400 yards passing or more. I mean, that's you cannot do that in this league. I mean, some of those games we got lucky and were able to pull them out, but bye week after the Miami game was perfect opportunity to fire him. I know Lance and I had discussed that on the show back at that point in time. It should have been done at that point in time. You had any number of guys you could have put in there to in the interim role. None that I would have kept on for the this year, but some of our quarterbacks should be sending thank you cards to Ed. So I said Daniel Jones needs to send Ed Donatel one hell of a Christmas present this year because Brunswick got mad. Yeah, the F-bombs started flying a whole lot more than they normally do, and that's if we had a beeper, we'd have broken it on some of those rants that Lance went on about the defense but hey, it's a new day. It's Donatel is gone. Flores is just bringing in Flores. Even if we had kept the entire starting defense from last year again, bringing in Flores, I believe, would have brought that defense from 31st at least into the 20 to 22 range, somewhere in there. I think this defense, with the infusion of a little bit of youth and some of these new players and stuff, runs a pretty good chance of at least getting top 15 to 17. And if we can get middle of the pack in defense this year, that's all I'm asking for. I don't know that it's realistic to start saying we're going to have a top 10 defense, we're going to this, we're going to that. But I think if we can get in that 15 to 17 range, the offense takes another step. Second year in the O'Connell system, we've got, brought in another tight end to run some more of these 2 tight end sets in the 12 package and things like that with Oliver. Hawkinson gets his, Jefferson gets his. Jordan Addison is going to inject a lot more pain for opposing defenses on that side of things, just because he's going to be able to get open, I believe, more than Thielen was able to last year. And they're not going to be able to just keep rolling coverage to Jefferson, because if they do, I think Addison is going to burn him on the other side. Craving a blowout so bad it just never happened. I know that was, okay, it was entertaining, but in the same breath, I was hoping for the same thing, Thadir. It would have been nice to just have a game where we're not sitting there biting our nails and chewing on glass and pacing, depressions in the floor back and forth, wearing out the carpet from the third quarter to the fourth quarter every damn week. 11 one-score games. We had the one game against Green Bay to start the season, that was a decent win. And against the Bears at the end, when the Bears had already packed it in. But, beyond that, that's your 13 wins right there. That the 2 wins that weren't one-score games were the first game and the last game. So I think we're gonna have a lot more enjoyable. Team should be put through. Fans should be put through 11 to 12 one-score games. Yeah, it's definitely not good on the old ticker. I know that. There's nothing wrong with your team walking out, stomping a mud hole in their opponent and walking it dry. Every once in a while, it's nice to throw 40 points up and win 43-10 or 43-12 or something like that. But Doc just want to have a game where it can relax and have fun. I agree. That's part of this thing, even with the O'Connell offense, that I hope they improve on from last year is that stretch, second quarter to midway through the third quarter, where the offense just kind of seemed to always kind of go into hiding, and maybe grill up something. Usually not close games. I'm not very hungry, thirsty. Yeah, it's good for beer sales and stuff anyway. But when you're that nervous watching games, I don't usually want to eat much either. It's but new year, new players, new defense, new lot of stuff. So, hey, we'll see how things go. I'm excited. I started thinking about it. Training camp is only 2 months away because they report end of July, which it's weird to think it's that close already when the snow just melted here 3 weeks ago. But hell, ice just went off the lake down at my campground Wednesday last week. So, already talking about stuff that's going to happen late summer and fall. But, football is football, and there is no off season. We got OTAs and we've got mini camps and stuff like that here for a little while. Then kind of middle of June, it does kind of die down for a couple of weeks. But, Lance and I are going to be here the whole way through. Ryno's Rants, of course, Monday nights. Wednesday night, Lance will take a look at the guys who have worn number 8. I'm sure there will be one polarizing figure that's there that we'll talk about. And I believe he also is going to issue a correction to his Brunswick's best number 7 from last week, since he forgot one Mr. Case Keenum in his list. But I'll leave that up to him. But that'll be Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. And, of course, regular studio show Friday night. It'll be pre-recorded this week, but, we'll be there in the live chat. Same as everything. What lake do I camp on? I am on Big Cormorant, south of Lake Park. Ooh, bacon-wrapped shrimp skewers for the home opener. That sounds good. Can't wait to go to the cabin and fish. Yep, I haven't got the boat out yet. I gotta do that. I'll do it next week because I won't be down. I'm not going down to the lake this weekend because I got some stuff going on. But have it out for Memorial Day weekend and get out there and enjoy it at that time. Reggie, the pit master, I swear to God, if I lived close to Reggie, I would be over 400 pounds just because I'd be over there eating all the barbecue that he cooks all the time. Would love to fish up there. Hey, you're ever up in the area, GMAC, give me a holler and I'll take you out fishing. That's kind of my summer thing on the weekends. I go down to my camper, hang out on the lake, go fishing, hang out, drink some beers, have a little fun, relax, cruise around on the lake on the pontoon, just taking it all in. So I'm on the Pacific Ocean next show. Yeah, Doc, you got a little bit more water over there than I do, but I got 10,000 lakes, but none of them are that big. So, but hey, with that, that's really all I got for this week. Want again, thanks everybody for joining. Again, Brunswick's Best, 6 o'clock on Wednesday. The studio show Friday at 6 p.m. And don't forget, if anybody who's watching has not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so and give us a like on the videos as well. It helps us out with the YouTube algorithms and helps us build up the brand and helps us build things better and better for you guys, because that's the kind of stuff we do this show for you guys. We love talking football. I love this live format where I can talk to you guys, back and forth in the chat and interact in a live show. It makes the shows a lot more fun. But again, thanks everybody for watching. And with that, I am going to go call it a night. And we will see you guys Wednesday for Brunswick's Best. And once again on Friday for episode 110 of Vikings Uncensored. So with that, You guys have yourselves a good Monday, and we will see you later.